This is where the fun begins.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rancor Podcast. I have Brendan here, or Yo Brendan. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, but Cosmic, got in touch with me. He said, "Yo, he want," he said he'd come on. I'm like, "Well, let's go." So,
Let's do it.
but my first, I do have a few questions sometimes when I get some new people on, and it's become a recurring question. I ask everybody, how did you get like affiliated or get to know Rancor and Cosmic in them and stuff?
I think it was 2 winters ago, maybe. Cosmic reached out, asked if I wanted to join the lug, and I said yeah, because at that point I don't think I was really a part of anything. It was mainly just like me. And yeah, he reached out, asked if I wanted to join, and that was definitely something I was looking for, just like joining more online communities and getting more involved with like the Lego community as a whole.
Mhm. Yeah, and he's been doing pretty good for it, and it's really grown a lot the last few years, and they've been doing a lot more. But also, but I know like your biggest thing, and because Rancor is about it as well. You're a big mock builder, and like you
Yep.
said to me, you got some new pieces for mocks and stuff today at the Lego store.
Yeah.
But I actually got to see. I've seen on your Insta. You posted some of the mocks you've done, and I just wanted to show some of those off. Or I've seen you post some, and this was. I know you posted this recently, and I saw someone in the comments said it was a repost, but I like this one a lot. The Ryloff
Yep.
look here.
Yeah. I built that in November, and then I posted it. It was actually an application for the 253rd Legion, and
Hmm.
I uh, I just deleted it because if like you look at my actual like Instagram page, it I don't remember exactly when it was, but it kind of like threw off the formatting that I have going. So I wanted to repost that just so it would look better. But yeah, so old build, but I'm still pretty proud of it. That was the last. Honestly, that was the last Star Wars thing that I built. It's been a while since I built anything Star Wars related.
Yeah, and I did get a few of your Star Wars ones because but I
Yeah,
did.
no, 100%.
But I did see this one as well, the attack on the temple or the library, the
Yeah,
archive here. I like this one a lot too.
yeah, I think with that one, I don't know if that was the first, but that was like right around the time when I figured out how to do the light up lightsabers through Photoshop, and also there was actual practical lighting too to light up the Jedi holocron display. So that was fun to like combine those two.
And I've always seen like the attack on the temple, like mocks and stuff. I've never seen it like in like the Jedi archive.
Mhm.
Some of the times it's just you don't. So I just picked ones that I had never really seen before, or I thought were just very unique. And I'll do the last Star Wars one and then go one that's a little uh not Star Wars, but the this one was also the lower levels.
Yeah, honestly, that might be my favorite thing that I've posted so far. I have a couple other builds so far that I haven't shown off yet that I like, but yeah, in terms of like Star Wars build, I think that is the one I'm the most proud of and I like the most.
And I like, I noticed on all your posts, like I love the lighting that you give to these, like how you are just, it just looks so good, and the techniques, the builds, and also I've seen some of how you've done some of your techniques on your um, channel that you have as well. But there was another one. I know it's not Star Wars, but just the wall building and the techniques on this one just really impressed me too. The wall here, uh, the ice. This one I like this one as well. It's nice.
Yeah, for me, I really like building almost like ruins and like statues. That's just something I really like to do. So yeah, that was fun to also I don't think I built anything like winter theme before. So that was definitely a new
Hmm.
challenge.
Yeah, No, I like the medieval or old like statues or stuff like this too. Just because that's like of course this architecture similar stuff reminds me of like Lord of the Rings, similar to like the Rivendell, or also just shows like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. It just looks very great to me. And I was like, all the ones I've seen here, I showed these off because I just think they're really impressive, really good techniques, really, and it just shows the creativity of mock builders and what you all can do. And I've done a few, but just I don't think they're as good as this. But you got some very nice ones. But uh, my next big question here is how did you get into mop building and Lego YouTube and just started to like join into different communities or spaces?
I mean, it really goes back to like some of my earliest memories, Lego specifically, like with my family. Like that was just something I had always done. I'd always like get the sets for Christmas, and I'd kind of just like end up taking them apart and building my own creations out of it. And really, like I think it was like the what originated it almost was like the original Clone Wars battle pack with the phase ones.
Yeah.
That just like set everything in motion. Because I remember it's been deleted, but I remember I created a YouTube channel back in the day. This was in like 2008, where I'd be
Hmm.
making and uploading videos. Yeah, unfortunately, I deleted all that in like high school when I was like, this is just cringe. But looking back, like I wish I would have kept it. So like, yeah, really, it goes back almost like 20 years now, which is crazy to say. But
Yeah, like everyone I've talked to about either like mop building or doing something in the Lego space, especially now around Rancor, it's like everyone's like a ton of us we just got started with stuff on clones or Clone
yeah,
Wars
right.
and all
Yeah,
this and people people did army building and then some people started making their own decals or like ways they thought they could make figures better. Like we
yep,
always started back at the clones and Clone Wars, and mainly prequel stuff, as I've noticed. Like a lot of people now have really focused on, but
yeah,
besides like because I've seen a lot of Clone Wars, is there any other uh things you do maybe with Star Wars and stuff that you feel doesn't get as much or is there one you want to work on that you feel doesn't get as much love compared to maybe Clone Wars and Star Wars or something like that?
yeah. I agree. Definitely, like with what I've seen, it does tend to be more prequel theme based,
Mm-hmm.
which that was like what I grew up with. Like I was 5 when Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith came out, so that's such like a pivotal part of my childhood, and I think that's why I gravitate towards the Clone Wars, just because it's so sentimental to me. And like I've created hundreds of decals and clones. They're not on my Instagram, but like I'm just looking at them right now, and honestly, that's definitely like my favorite era. I would like to gravitate more towards, I think, like going back in time in the Star Wars universe and like do something older public theme, because like I don't know if you've personally seen the like the cinematics from the Knights of the Old Republic game, but like those are just incredible.
Yeah, and I found more people, especially now, going a little more back to Old Republic and stuff, and even some people are now touching the EU as
Hmm.
well with some builds. But then there's other ones where people just make their own creations, their own planets, or it's part of a collab as part of a building competition. Like Rancor's done a few and stuff like that, but it's always been the creativity from everyone and all that is amazing to me
Hmm.
that you can just think of all that. But but I really enjoy like everything with mock building and seeing it. And sometimes, honestly, I'm going to get I just think sometimes like the mock builders just have it more in what people want, and sometimes I think make better sets than Lego themselves. Sometimes. for sure.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I would fully agree with that sentiment too, because like I don't really buy any sets anymore. I have the four botanical ones that just came out, and then I have Rivendell, which I don't even have a space to display it right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, I just like every time I look at a set, I just know that one, it's designed to have like play features and playability, and like ultimately Lego is a toy, but like that's not how I view Lego. So like I just know I can do it better. And that's, like, kinda the approach I try to, apply to when I build something.
Yeah, and like for me, like I do get more sets because it's part of what like I do, and I do review or build them live and stuff like that. But there's just some now where you're just like you just see some of it because where you're so you get involved in it, you just
Mhm.
start to see like some of it. It's not even worth the price.
Yep.
Like um, just some newer sets that have come out, or
But, yeah,
there's
like,
been
the
some.
Ahsoka's, interceptor was the first thing that jumped to my mind.
Yeah, like there's been so many things, and now there's some leaks that came for the June stuff, and I'm just like, they're saying like that 327th, or like the Star Core, whatever that battle pack's like $40, and
Yep.
it barely includes anything besides figures. So it's
Yeah,
just like. Uh, there's not a lot of there's sometimes not a lot of value, and then
definitely.
there is some good stuff for sure, but it's just I think really the creativity lies in the imagination now of other people
Mhm.
besides Lego, because sometimes it just feels like there's just some things that are just so not thought of sometimes now with, and mainly more attention is put in the bigger sets now instead of caring about like every interval, and I've noticed that too. But yeah, um
Yeah, and just one thing I will say is, like, I'm not knocking anyone who is, collecting sets, like, I've been there, I've done it, yeah, it's just, like, for me personally, I think it goes into, like, what you said with the value, like, I just went to the Lego store earlier and got 3 boxes, probably, like, thousands of pieces, and it was $47 or $57, but, like, that Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor, I think, was, like, 45, so it's, like, for me, it's, like, the value thing, like you said, like, the trade-off versus what I'm actually putting my money towards versus what I'm getting, and I just get more out of it, the Lego, as, like, just mock building, really.
yeah, but it's still, but for me, and I think for other like others, if you are, if you review, you live build sets, you're a mock builder, whatever, the best thing I've noticed about all of this is there's so many like with Rancor right here, or just so many others that are keeping like the creativity, the spirit, everything else alive. Because I see it through everybody that
Mhm.
works on it, right, and is behind the scenes, and people like you that do the good mocks and bigger mocks. It's just there's so much in like the space of create. There's so much creativity, and I see it every day. And there's you just sometimes are like, well, this is what like the fans and the people that love to do this just make so many good things, and you would expect better from other from a bigger company, but it's sometimes that doesn't work out. But I think that really mocks and everything and communities like Rancor are keeping Lego alive for sure, because
Mhm.
there's been a lot of controversy, but on Lego's half of their pricing, like you said as well, and I just feel like this is another part that's keeping Lego alive. So I think they've started to realize that a little bit, but sometimes it
Hopefully.
feels like they don't.
Agreed. But, yeah, I think, like, when people aren't satisfied, it then in turn has them wanting to take matters into their own hands and do what they can do to improve it, like you said. So I think it it is unfortunate in from a certain perspective, but ultimately, like, it ends up inspiring other people to want to do more and just create. So I think that's the cool part about it.
Yeah. Um. Well, I actually, is there any from you people have seen some of your mocks on here now and some other stuff. Would you give any advice for maybe up and coming mock builders or people that do want to do it? Is there any advice you would give them on how to start or get better at stuff with mock building or designs?
I think a lot of it really just comes down to like practice and repetition. And I know it's pretty cliche, but like that really just applies to like anything you want to get good at. If you just stick with something long enough,
Mhm.
in yeah, you'll eventually improve. And I think to actually answer your question, I think just like looking at other people's builds and their models, figure out what it is that works there. That's like what I did really is I would just like kind of study other people's work to find out how to improve in my own skill set. Techniques too, I'd say is another one. Don't or yeah, let me restart. Techniques just like improving your almost like arsenal, I guess, for lack of a better term, of
Yeah.
techniques. Just like kind of like table scraps. I know people do that a lot. That was the one thing I feel like that helped me was just like kind of fiddling around with pieces on my desk, see how they go together. And then usually that would inspire me to do something like larger, really.
Yeah. Uh, well, I know that I might have like maybe one or two more things, but besides besides Star Wars and stuff like besides that, because this I know this is Rancor, but is there any other like franchises or themes or just type of architecture that you like to do as well?
Yeah, I think right now like I'm really into like Japanese style builds and I haven't really posted anything yet because I kind of want to like build up a backlog of stuff to be posted. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a couple things that I'm working on right now that revolve around like that theme, but like also like the high fantasy, like you showed that one I did with like the statue, just like almost Lord of the Rings esque, really. Like that's I really like Lord of the Rings too, and I have Rivendell, so I have the minifigures for that. So more more like elven themed. I like the elves. That's probably my favorite part about that universe. So definitely that's something
Yeah.
I want to continue doing.
No, I love delving into that stuff too, because like Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite things, but also I love like the Japanese like architecture and other things. And I know Cosmic was I know that he was talking about some ideas with doing things with uh, Japanese architecture as well with
Hmm.
the Rancor, but it's just there's a lot of and I think that's very unique too, because sometimes there's just not a lot of that. I mean, the most we've seen in terms of that type of architecture, I guess, in Lego has been with sometimes if like Ninjago goes into some of that like temple building or other things like that, but not much. But I love the designs of all that, and like I watch like animes and stuff like that or other things, and there's so many designs and so many um, great looks for things through Lord of the Rings and our One Piece and Naruto, like all these different franchises that can really they lend well to creative building and all of that. And I think, and even in some regards, I think people are starting to see that even more now. So there's a lot go, but
Yeah,
Lego's done a lot with it too. So
agreed. Like the one thing I could think of was like the Tranquil Garden. Like that to me, like I look at that set and it's like I really like the aesthetic of it, but like I just know that I want to take that and improve upon it because ultimately like they are restricted to like a price, playability, and whatever else goes into designing a Lego set. But like as a mock builder, you're not really restricted in any way except for the restrictions that you place upon yourself. So I think that is the beauty of it. And there's also like a lot of themes, like you said, like that are underrepresented, I feel like, and that's something that I want to kind of give my time to because before it was mainly just Star Wars builds, and I just look at what I do, and it just none of it really felt unique, and that was kind of something I struggled with because a lot of it would just be like it felt to me like I was just doing something that someone had already done, and that's really not what I want to be doing. So yeah, I just kind of want to push myself through exploring ideas that really haven't been done before.
and that's how I feel most of the time too. There's some things it's just like, I mean, even in in like actual Lego sets as well, but also in terms of building, because I've given Cosmic some ideas too for different themes of what, but there is points where I'm just like, I feel like when one thing's done too much, it kind of gets stale. Like, it gets stale after a while, and you kind of like, you want to try something different. And it's like I love like every build I've seen of clone stuff and other things, but and I wouldn't mind to see more clone stuff. But there's also points where it's one of those where you want to see maybe like a different planet,
Yeah.
because most of the time it's Geonosis, uh, Feed. Some not now is popping up a lot more. I've seen a few Ryla off, and like they're all pretty good, but it's just like there's points where you're like, well, I would want to see some newer stuff as well, or going, like as you said, maybe back to older things. And but I think also just everything that lends itself to a good mock is the person themselves too, and their creativity.
Mhm.
And but definitely, I believe wholeheartedly that Lord of the, and I'm like, I've seen it this year. I know they're doing the Baggins or the
Mhm.
Shire. I'm planning to get that and live build it and stuff. But it's also a very But those, I think those are the closest thing to looking like actual like mock buildings from Lego than anything really. Just that stuff like that, but it's just so unique, so big, and they can actually do it. Is what I love to see stuff like that. Just something just breathtaking. Like you look at it and you're like, how was that made? And that's how I feel about when I see a really good one. And there's some, and there's been huge ones that I've seen recently that are really good. So I think it just lends itself to that. People are just getting better and better, and that's all I can say about it, really.
Yeah, I think along that line, the expansion of pieces is really aiding in that process because like now you can do so much more than you could 5 years ago based off just like the new pieces that constantly come out.
Oh, that they've expanded it so much. Like I've gotten some new sets recently, just Star Wars stuff, because there is really ones I do like from the last few years, and there's like new pieces everywhere. I'm building a new
Mhm.
set, and I'm like, this could be perfect for like a building or a landscape. Like because I've thought about things they could use it for, and you're right. Like I remember people saying, like even for like if like Solid Bricks when he does his stuff, or other people that make big mocks, they're like, back a few years ago, it was so hard to find right pieces or anything to do it with, and now there's so many more tiles, so many more bricks, so many more everything to really put it all together. And I've like that's where I think like Lego does good things, and then there's just things where you're just like, I don't get you sometimes,
Yeah,
but
right. Like who's making these decisions? But at the same time, they're making great decisions.
yeah, exactly. But it's just one of those things, I guess, really, where it's like it can be a little hit or miss, but most of the time they've done pretty well with the stuff that I've seen, and also going to like talking about kind of stuff like some of I guess mock type buildings or whatever. The closest things to me in terms of cityscape or other things like that are similar to like the Lord of the Rings have been the Marvel D2Cs, the Daily Bugle, Avengers Tower, the Sanctum, like that. I do like that stuff as well with the city building or other things like that. It just I feel like those are really good and they put a lot of time into them, and they're some of the best sets that Lego's done. So it's just I I like I guess more now I'm getting into that point where I really am just loving these bigger sets that come out every once in a while, but you feel like you're getting what you're paying for a little bit with those because it's
Mhm.
just like they look good and they're worth it. Like the Daily Bugle I have over here, it's like one of the tallest sets ever, and
Mhm.
it's like you look at that and it's like that it but takes your breath away with other things. And I feel like that's also another thing that the mock community does is you just I've seen ones that are like 10,000 pieces or these huge ones, and I just like I wish we could have something like that as an actual set.
Mhm.
I've seen like Big Helm's Deep or Minas Tirith and all that, and from Lord of the Rings, and I'm like I would want that in like, here in my room.
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah,
People definitely want that too. Like that just has me thinking about the new Death Star coming out. I don't know when that's supposed to come out, but I've just like seen the rumors for it, and $1,000 is going to be pretty crazy. So I'm looking forward to see that, just what it looks like from a design perspective.
as a as a Lego Star Wars fan, I am very because like I have my own little podcast I do building and chatting, but I've been talking about it with my friends the $1,000 Death Star, and I'm just like we're literally all saying it has to be absolutely like perfect to be
Yeah, it's
worth
gotta
that
be.
because I and also the figures have to be good. You have
Mhm.
to actually give the figures have to be good. The set has to be good, and whatever else they want to do with it has to be good I'm not, because 1,000 like my friends are right like my one the one I have on the Sky Ren he was like this is like a month of rent for most people
Yeah.
for a Lego set. So it's just like you really have to blow it out of the park to charge that much, and I I still don't think it will be worth it. I don't think that's gonna be worth it really
Mhm.
because with some things with Lego Star Wars, Legos drop the ball sometimes. So I'm very hesitant, we could say, about that one being worth it, but we will see.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
more
that
excited about the Slave One, uh,
yeah, me too.
because that one actually that's one that genuinely deserves to be made as a collector set because
Yeah,
we haven't had one since the 2002, like since the original Django Slave one. There
yeah.
hasn't been one since then, and we're getting the playset scale one too this year. So I don't know how that's going to work, but figures and stuff. But I just genuinely feel that that's a more worth it value, and it's cheaper, but
Mhm.
it's a set that hasn't been made in forever. So it's just I feel that one's more well probably going to be more worthwhile than the $1,000 Death Star, but we will see how that looks. But I still think that's insane.
I
I
know, right? Because it's just
like
unprecedented in terms of the price tag. Like I think what was the Falcon like $800?
yeah, 800, and then inflation things. They brought those the Falcon and the when it was still on shelves, the AT-AT. They both increased to 850.
Okay, yeah, I forgot about the AT-AT
So
as well.
yeah, before they were 800 originally, and then increased to 850 like a year or two later. So it's just crazy.
Agreed. I
but
definitely am looking forward to that Slave One too. I remember when I first heard the rumor, that immediately was a set that I could see myself buying because I did own the original UCS Slave One Boba's, but I ended up selling it a couple years ago just because I didn't have space. But yeah,
yeah.
that'd be like the first Lego set I think I would have or would consider buying since I think honestly like the last time I bought one was 2021 maybe.
hmm
So yeah, it's been a while for me, but yeah, that set I'm just very fascinated to see because I think it has like what 1,000 more pieces than the original Slave One.
Yeah, and and there's going to be updated pieces too for the Django Slave one. I know the new rangefinder's coming with that.
Hmm.
Or there's a new rangefinder piece for the first time in forever. So all of and then it's like the same. It's like a similar cockpit piece to the
The old one, yeah, I've
UCS
seen.
Slave
Yeah,
one,
yeah, I saw
but
the render for the piece.
but I think it's gonna be a little darker, maybe a little bit darker. But yeah, they're everything with the slave one looks like it's gonna be pretty good. So I would just that's the ones I'm more excited for, and honestly, the other things that's really exciting me this year is I'm liking the buildable figures they're saying are coming. I know that they're talking about Chopper and K2SO and stuff like that for Star Wars. And I
Hmm.
like those characters a lot, and I like the figures, the buildable ones when they do them. So I'm excited to see what they do with those and the battle droid and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's it. Uh, yeah, but no, I think this year's going to be pretty good. But that June wave for that leak is a little disappointing with Lego Star Wars. But besides that, I'm excited for some stuff and some I'm not really. That's just how it goes.
Is what am I thinking of here? I'm drawing a blank on the actual name of the vehicle, but the one on Magito, is that rumored to come out with
Oh, the
Takara and the Marine?
UTAT.
Yeah, the UTAT. Is that rumored to come out this year?
Yeah, I believe that one is. I believe they're saying that's going to be part of the August
Okay.
wave, and that's the one, of course, Galactic Marines. So that's what
Yeah.
everyone's.
Yeah, those are one of my favorite clone legions too. So I'm very fascinated to see like how they're actually going to do that because the custom ones that I have, I use like the original Snow Trooper helmet from like the ones
Yeah,
that are currently in circulation. I just painted them that maroon color. So hopefully they do something similar, but obviously print it rather than paint it. You know, they don't have to do that.
that's the most. Like everyone thinks that's probably going to be what they do with because I don't know how I don't know any other way you could do it because that's how they look.
Yeah,
So
right.
I but I mean, there's a few good ones. I mean, the Clone Wars MTT, the like blue and gray
Yeah.
MTT, the and then the LAAT, and then I know they're saying a new V19 torrent
Hmm.
is.
Yeah, hopefully it has that same mechanism where like the wing moves down. Because I remember as a kid I had that set, and that was
Yeah,
like,
like you can like flip it down.
yeah,
Yeah,
that like
I
mechanism it used was so epic.
hmm I think it will. It might be a little with how Lego's been doing. Some might be a little smaller than the original, but if
Hmm.
that means that, but I think it. I think that they could do it right. We just have to see because there's some ones coming out like people were kind of mixed on the new the U wing. I don't think it looks too bad for a bit of a little smaller version. But there's other people that are like it's absolute trash. I don't think that, uh, but yeah, it's just Lego. Give me, it's a little hit or miss sometimes, but definitely. But in terms of like mop building, like there's people that have improved what Lego did. Like there's improvements to the Arc 170 that came out this year because it's a little weird with some proportions, but it's pretty good in my mind. It's not like the worst set, Uh, but yeah, it was a little off, but
Hmm.
I still enjoy it. But um, aside, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Or
Uh, Not really that I can think of. I feel like we had a pretty good chat here.
I think we talked about a lot of what I wanted to talk about. So yeah, I think that's where we'll probably wrap this episode, everybody. But thank you, Brendan, for coming on and talking. This was a fun episode, and everybody, we hope you enjoyed it as well. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that, and we will talk to you later. Peace out, everybody.
All right, thanks, man. See you, everyone.
See